joining me today are Apoorva Mehta, who's a partner DCA and CEO Dharma 2.0, and Vijay Subramanian, who's the director and head of content Amazon Prime Video. Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. As many of you would have guessed, we're going to be talking about Shershaah. So what really surprised me was the fact that Shershaah is the most watched film on Amazon, and it's fairly recent. It's come just a couple of weeks ago. How did it rack in so many views in such a short time?
Well, I can go first. I think it became the most watched film on Prime Video India, starting with the content itself. What Apoorva and the Dharma as a company have done is tell an amazing story that kind of hits all the right notes. Whether it's the story, the performances, the execution, just the broad appeal, everything, I think that's the first reason. The second is it's a very powerful story, no doubt. It's a story that is equally inspirational and at the same time, all about valor and bravery. It is a story that is very dear to people's hearts. People have either been a part of that period or they've heard about it, but in equal measure, everybody feels very respectful to that period. And so there is that aspect as well. And then the third thing really is the fact that look, it tugs at the core of what drives our emotions, right? It is no doubt it's an ode to the bravery and valor of Captain Vikram Batra, no doubt. It's also exemplifies what living for the greater good and martyrdom really is all about, and what freedom really means. So this is a universally appealing story, regardless of whether you are from Chandigarh or Coimbatore.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think that these are the three reasons I would attribute for the film being as big as it's become. And we're both honored and humbled. And I am very deeply gratified that we were able to take this beautiful Indian story and take it to not just Indians in India, but citizens around the world, 240 countries and territories, and it's getting love from everywhere. So I think it's a moment of great pride for all of us.
The story of Captain Batra is amazing. It is so touching. It is so inspirational. And it is so special for sure. But Apoorva, it's also true that we've had films in the past about martyrs equally inspirational, but they have not been very well-made films. So they haven't found the kind of love that Shershaah has received. So tell me about that. Of course, you have a great story on your hands, but you also had the task of executing it well.
So I have to say, you're right. I mean, I think the biggest, what worked really for the film and for all of us is the fact that, whenever you're making a biographical film, you need to have tremendous research and precision, and especially when you are making it on a person of such incredible caliber, So I think we are really pleased that we spent those 4 years researching the material, trying to be very clear what it was. And I think credit to the Batra family for entrusting us with this opportunity. Our partners, Shabbir Boxwell at Kash Entertainment, who had been working on this even before we came on the project. And of course, Siddharth Malhotra, without whom this would not have been possible. I think he was the one who spent so much time on the script, and then he brought it to us. And I think really was, everything sometimes things just fall in place. And I think that has really happened here. And I think also what really worked for the film, that was not jingoistic. We kept it very real. It was very, very honest. It was very passionate about this. It only showed the life and the journey of Paramveer Chakra awardee Vikram Batra. There were no other distractions. And he was a man, his passion was inspiring. And not only for his country, I think for his incredible love track also with Dimple, which was played so aptly by Kiara Advani. I think it just showed that the man was, for him, I think the sincerity of his passion is what won people. That is unparalleled, that he puts the country before everything, and he's so passionate even about his love, even about his country, but he made everything so simple, because there was so much clarity in his thinking. And I think that is it. I think it's not Chinkost, it was really true. And I think we've all been a part of this war, in some sense. Most of us, at least in this age group, have been there. We've experienced it, so we're aware of it. So I think all of that really helps. There is a direct connect, which is there in, which is not historical, but it is in your recent history. So I think all of these factors have worked well.
And it also taught a new generation about the Kargil
Correct.
war.
Absolutely.
Many people who didn't know the story of Captain Batra, even some of us who knew about it but didn't know the actual details. It is like still like I get goosebumps thinking about like the last scene. So it really brings to light like stories untold about heroes like Vikram Batra.
Yes. I mean, like you see the movie also, like, the fact that all of them were so strong, like he put his career, he always put the army above everything else. Dimple, played by Kiara, said that she won't marry anybody else, and she's kept to that. I mean, even today, she's not somebody she's very camera shy. She's still leading the life that she promised that she would lead. So it's really, truly, it's a story of truly incredible, inspiring people.
Beautiful story. Apoorva, had you had the chance, would you have wanted to take this to the theaters?
We get asked this very often, and now, I mean, it brings a smile to our face, because, I mean, so let me tell you, so the film was intended for a theatrical release, for Dharma Productions. It is, for Karan and for Dharma Productions. Theatrical films are the cornerstone of our business, The film was made by us a year ago, and it was meant to release in June 2000. We had tentatively selected June, July as the release date of last year. And of course, the pandemic broke out and everything has changed thereafter. And I think for us, it was now a question was that we were very clear that we wanted to, I would say Karan was very clear that he wanted to kind of ensure that the film comes on a day that salutes the country, and what better day than 15th of August, I think there is so much resonance in terms of the patriotic spirit that the country is engulfed in. There is, this is a direct tribute to all the war heroes, who are constantly fighting for us and risking their lives. So for us, the date was sacrosanct. And I think we realized that the theaters aren't really performing to the optimum capacity, and that is understandable. The country is going through an extremely difficult pandemic, and it will be some more time, I think, before people are able to gain courage to enter the theaters. So it really made sense for us to go on OTT. And I think what really swayed the decision was the fact that where in the world would we have the opportunity of releasing on 240 countries on day and date? And the Amazon has made this possible, and I think this is the widest release that they have done ever for any Hindi film. So I think in that sense, it was truly hard. It was truly, what do I say, very, very satisfying, that we were able to pay this amazing tribute, and we were able to take you to every corner of the world where Amazon had a service, and we were able to bring it day and day to everybody. So I think it was very, very satisfying in that sense. And a normal theatrical film releases in 7 to 80 countries, and this is 3x of that. So I think that itself was very, very satisfying for us. And of course, they've done a tremendous job. I think I have to thank Vijay and his entire team, the marketing team, Shershaah, all of them. They've kind of worked very hard to ensure that they left no stones unturned, because for us, the only fear was that we wanted to project like a theatrical release. And I think Vijay and the team have really surpassed our expectations. They've taken it out so strongly. I mean, you when you see the marketing and the promotion of the film, you wouldn't feel that it's a theater. You wouldn't feel it's a release on the theatrical screen in your house and not the theater. In that sense.
Vijay, there's so much interest from the audience side over the last few years about the numbers a film makes. Earlier, the audience didn't care about it. But now the fact that if a film has made 100 crore in the first weekend or not is actually a factor for why audiences want to go into theater. So on the OTT, what such metric is true for people who want to watch something? What metrics do they look for on OTT?
Well, firstly, I think it starts with taste clusters. I don't think customers come to a service and say, oh, okay, this film has been watched by gazillion people, so I should watch it too. Primarily because Prime Video is all about choice, right? What makes this amazing is that you could be on Prime Video at home, and your folks could be watching something different. You could be watching something different. Your sibling could be watching something different, and so on and so forth. And then these interests converge as well. There'll be things that you all want to watch together, so you do that by appointment. Say, okay, Shershaah, hey, mom, dad, sis, brother, whatever, let's all watch that together. But Modern Love, I'm going to watch it because I know my folks are not into it. They're going to probably watch something, that you're not into, and so on and so forth. That's what makes it fascinating, right? That's one. So in terms of, so the first, it always starts with a taste cluster. What am I interested in? Two is, what are like-minded people talking about? So, within your inner circle, social groups, friends, whatever, there are things that they care about and that intersects with your interests, and those things become important as well. Three is the amazing thing about any content on Prime Video is the feedback is almost instant, right? Whether it's through social media or closed messaging groups or what have you. People are going to tell you what they thought about a particular film and what they liked about it or didn't like about it. And these opinions matter to you. That's why they're a part of your social circle or closed groups. And automatically you either find out more, which again is information that's readily available, whether it's through IMDb or Google or whatever else you want to use. And then you go and sample it. And then the third is discovery itself. Because you watched, say, you've become a fan of Prithviraj's, and you really start enjoying his films, and you watch Cold Case, and then you decided to watch Purudi. The algorithm is such that it's designed to help you find more of Prithviraj's great works, whether it's Driving License or Ayyappanam Koshiyam. It starts throwing up these choices, so you start selecting on that. Simultaneously, in terms of genre, because you enjoy drama, is going to recommend some dramas in Tamil, some dramas in Telugu perhaps, and before you know it, you've gone down that enchanting rabbit hole of discovering great content that just complements your taste. So I think it all comes down to that as opposed to a box office number. I think we over-index on this one reported number oftentimes, because if you look at the journey or the life cycle of a film, that's just the beginning. Then it has its own life on a streaming service. It has its life on cable television, which, by the way, between streaming and cable television, make a film far more popular than box office ever can. So, the stats. They are less than 5% of the country actually watched India's biggest film, right? But its popularity grew many-fold on streaming and through cable. So there's that angle. And then finally, the other angle that people miss is just because the film did 200 crores doesn't mean that it appeals to you. So people, I think it's kind of it's a lowest common denominator almost, that almost leads to suggest that, okay, everybody's making decisions based on that, and that is not true.
Okay, all right. But I was talking actually not that people make a decision solely based on that, but that it's also a factor, the fact that the audience has become so interested now in the kind of numbers that a film does, be it, whether the box office returns or whether it's the fact that it's the most watched film on OTT. There's definitely a sense of curiosity about it.
Of course.
But,
no, I don't disagree. Look, the box office performance is also an indicator of popularity, right? The fact that so many people are going and watching it in theaters means there's something magical about that film. Similarly, if it is the most watched film, in the country from the time that we launched Shershaah, then there's obviously something going for that film, which is, in my mind, these are virtuous cycles that get created.
Thank you, Vijay. That was very informative. I came to know about a lot of factors and a lot about these factors as well. That was very informative. And I want to ask you, I think this is the first Dharma film on Amazon. Am I right?
No. In fact, we have a pretty deep relationship. I'll let Apoorva speak to that.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we've been partners with Amazon since the inception in India. Our entire catalog was in there. All our films are there. So I think there are very few films that are not on Amazon. I'll put it that way. There are very few films that are not on Amazon. I think most of our content is on Amazon.
All right. But is this the first film to release exclusively on Amazon on an OTT?
Yes. This is the first direct-to-digital film with Amazon.
With Amazon.
First of many, I'm sure. But yes, this is the first one.
Yes, to be fair, I think I've binge watched the entire Dharma library on Amazon. So
Okay, there you go.
all the rewatches do happen. My mother can.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much. I learned a lot, and and I hope the people who haven't watched Shershaah, like the 2 or 3 people who are still left, go and catch it soon. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
and
Thank you.
congratulations again. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Shilpa.
Thank you so much.